Two is the 2-year-old Ruby this year with Montana Food and Events over the mile. He's 250 into 220, 250 out to 280 Mystic Max. You at all surprised that there's been that switch in the market?
Well, no, because he's been clearly the best horse. My concern is I'm not overly keen to back a horse that's galloped in its last two starts, albeit one of them he still got up to win. There is that massive concern. They've got a fortnight to rectify that, Matt, and I actually think the barrier draw at barrier 7 actually does him a lot of favours. I'd rather have him at 7 than at 2.
Definitely.
Now, that sounds funny, but the reason why is because I think it gives him more chance and more manoeuvrability to stay out of trouble and get into his own rhythm. Had he drawn barrier 2, he's forced to hustle and bustle. I don't like Highgrove being hustled and bustled.
Yeah, John Dunn gave a bit of confidence with his interview on Monday with Michael Guerin as well, which is always a big plus. Look, his Ashburton run was very similar in terms of where he was drawn, and he got himself into the race, and there was no match for him. What do you see happening at the start from the inside, with particular reference with the inside 4 runners who do all look genuine chances in terms of the place, at least, barring Mystic Max, who might be a win hope if Highgrove does something wrong?
Absolutely. When I did these maps, and you know with 2-year-old trotters, these maps can change in a heartbeat. I mean, half of them could gallop in the score up, and I guarantee you, come the day, there'll be 2 or 3 that will gallop early on in this race. But how I do see it is Mr. Love actually got off the gate really good the other day at Addington, drew out wide, got across him, got a lovely run from there, and then got left posted. I thought it went very well. Arwell's always had good gate speed. I don't think it'll stay in front, but it could be in the trail. And then out wider, you've got the more major contenders, the Mystic Max and the Highgrove.
We'll go back to his Ashburton run, Highgrove. 157.1 mile rate he ran this day. Wow, that would be good enough to win 11 of the 13 duels so far, mile rate-wise. 57.9 by 8.5 lengths. 2-year-olds, you just don't see them win like this.
And this is what I mean about barrier draws when he's drawn wide. He drew the outside gate this day, Matt, so he was given plenty of manoeuvrability. He got plenty of a chance to just find his feet, worked around them, went forward, dominated from the 1200, and this is a massive margin at the end. And there's some good horses. This is Mystic Max after an early gallop running into second. Thought he was very good afterwards as well. But that's the best version of Highgrove. I've just not seen that since Ashburton. His last 2 starts have been a little bit wishy-washy, Matt. I thought the win 2 starts ago, very good. Last start, no excuses for me. I thought he galloped on his own accord twice. When the first time he got round a galloping runner and then galloped, and then he galloped again at the 400. And this is what I mean. This is at the start at his last start, Matt. You can see him there in the harness jewels colours. Now, there's no interference there, but he just gallops for no reason. Mystic Max goes on to win the race, and when we pick it up again at the 400 metre mark, you'll see that Highgrove's caught them and has got back into the race, but yet again gallops again for no reason. Wasn't under pressure, looked to be travelling quite nicely. That's Mystic Max getting to the outside. You can see the very, very good Mr. Love having to do a lot of work in the Greg.
He did all the donkey work for Mystic Max.
Well, he carted Mystic Max into the race, and that's why I like him to run top 3, Matt, because I thought it was a really good effort, and he's got a barrier draw he can use. But on Mystic Max, what I like about him, when he won his race in April, he trotted 2:31. Then he's gone back in May and he's trotted 2:29. He's gaining 2 seconds a month. What you want to see, and when I say that, it is a horse that is on the improve and is running faster times month to month. And what you've got to do to win a Jules is you've got to lift 2 lengths. So can he lift 2 lengths again from May into June? He did that from April into May.
I really think Mr. Love can after that run there. Look, he's $13 to win the race compared to Mystic Max's $2.80. And he probably was in need of that run last time. And speaking with Ben Hope yesterday, though, got a decent opinion of this horse, so I wouldn't be shy to say he's a genuine top 3 player.
I think the market will move considerably here because I do believe they've got them too close together, and when we've seen that in the last 24 hours. We've seen Highgrove 250 into 220, Mystic Max 250 out of 280, and I believe he'll probably get out to over $3 come the day.
Just quickly on that, so let's say you're sitting there on a Sunday, your Gallops punters don't have anything to bet on, they see John Robert Dunn, they see Natalie Rasmussen, Hayden Cullen, Mark Purdon. Does that therefore put a horse like Highgrove, for want of a better term, at vulnerability of starting unders because of all of that support?
Absolutely. I mean, it's no difference. Our Australian viewers will bet into these races as well, and they know these 2 major stables. I mean, they know Natalie Rasmussen, they know John Dunn, they know they're aggressive drivers, they're Group 1 drivers, they're not scared to get into a dogfight. So they'll back them. They're not so keen to back the unknown stables, and that's a reason for the likes of Michael Purdon. Now, he's got the best second chance in the race, but the stables, the galloping punters and the Australian viewers haven't heard of him.
What do you think Highgrove will start?
I believe he'll start around $2, and I believe that Mystic Max will get over $3.
Okay, Highgrove's trainer is Robert Dunn. A short time, Mark Cookson asked him where he was at with this horse's manners.
Well, a lot better than last week, and he'd have to be, of course. It was disappointing. He got pretty wound up at the races, Mark, and we couldn't sort of get him settled at all, which is unlike him. He's generally a pretty chilled out sort of a horse. And once that horse of Gavin's galloped in front of him for a few strides and Johnny had to step round it, whilst it shouldn't have been, a false start, he didn't break it all, but he sort of started chasing them, and he got a wee bit, because he was a wee bit nervous on the night, he got a wee bit bully on it, and just Johnny said he was sort of chasing the whole way, and then he made a break and then a couple more. We sort of have, put that behind us. His work's been, he settled in beautifully here. That's him just actually behind us now going up the track. And he's settled in beautifully and his work's been good, so fingers crossed.
Beautiful big son of Love You that he is, and he was just about half asleep there in the background, wasn't he?
Well, you like to see that. I mean, it's been a long campaign for these 2-year-olds. I think it's start 11 for Highgrove, so it's not like he's only been up for a short while, Matt. There's a lot more in front of him. So Roberts had to peak him, drop him, and hopefully he peaks him for Sunday. But he's the horse to beat, no doubt about it. I have my concerns about Cambridge for him, being a big horse, but I think he's the horse going forward that'll be a star as a 3-year-old. So I'll put him on top. Best value for me, Mr. Love,
yeah, I agree.
$3 a place. I just think he's got the barrier draw, in-form stable, on the up and up, definite top 4 chance.
I think in a year's time we'll be talking about Mystic Max being, Mr. Love, being right up there, top level sort of 3-year-old sort of stuff. Well, one horse who has shown that he is top level 2-year-old is Mystic Max, and a couple of weeks ago I had the opportunity to head out and catch up with his young trainer, Michael Purdon.
Oh, Highgrove out the back's gone for another gallop. Ilaria Sand and Mr. Love locked wheels. Wi-Fi back to the inside, and here's Mystic Max down the middle. Mystic Max joins in with Toro Stride. Mr. Love through the middle. Wi-Fi up the inner. It's Mystic Max and Wi-Fi at the 50. Mystic Max digging deep, giving plenty, and Mystic Max got it. Mystic Max won the Group 2, beat Wi-Fi. The horse that was purchased as an early yearling of Gavel House purely for the fact of Michael Purdon and his interest in European trotting with the sire Village Mystic is tonight at the Addington Raceway, a Group 2 winner of the Lone Star Sire Stakes 2-year-old champs.
What were your first impressions of him when he turned up?
Wow. Yeah, just for his age, he was quite solid. And, as soon as he came off the float, he didn't seem too distressed about where he was or anything. He just took it all in, and it's like he'd been there the whole time. I just happened to have a look at Gavel House. I do most of the time to see what they got offering, and I saw him there, and being a son of Village Mystic, I thought, oh wow, got to have a crack at this. And I did, and was fortunate enough to be able to get him.
Did you have to go very high for him? Was there any bidding wars to get your hands on him?
RJ was apparently the underbidder. Might have just been a touch quicker on the computer than what he was, and ended up getting him for 9 or 10. Yeah.
How did your passion for Village Mystic come around?
Break kicked off when I was working at Melbourne for Anton Galino. The way he'd talk about the European racing, and he spent a long time over there. Just hearing stories from what he had done, started following the racing a bit more. And so I was well aware of the Stallion's achievements over in France, and thought, give him a crack.
One on is Mystic Max from Riquero Blaze. Highgrove is a minute in front of the 200 metres.
Yeah, Highgrove's shown when he's doing things right, he's a very smart animal. Though, in saying that, I don't think he'd just shrug my fella off. If my fella did everything right as well, I think he'd certainly notice his presence.
Grown up watching Dad Mark win duels galore, heading to Cambridge yourself, that must be give you a great thrill.
Yeah, it's a great thrill. Quite lucky, Dad being who he is and being able to call on his wisdom to help guide me leading into a Group 1.